Firstly, I'm delighted to be here amongst a great audience and, more importantly, have the opportunity to talk to you today about innovation in payments, but also the UK's approach to fintech and why it's having such a profound impact on the landscape of global payments. As many of you are aware, the UK is the global hub for fintech. We're envied across the world for our approaches to innovation simply because of the quality of new startups, for the investments we're making, and as well as the UK government's commitment towards this. To give you an idea, we generated something in the region of £66 billion in revenue last year from fintech alone here in the UK. And within this context, Worldpay has taken some benefits and advantages of this fast-paced change that we're seeing in the sector. We've transformed ourselves from a neglected business that was lost in a bank into an independent British success, which is thriving in today's world. But importantly, the global fintech story and sector has never been more exciting. It's creating so many opportunities, and businesses such as Worldpay are benefiting from those opportunities. And you too, in this audience, will, I'm sure, benefit from the opportunities that are available, and more importantly, for the UK more broadly. So let me just give you a quick synopsis of Worldpay for those of you that aren't familiar with it. We're a leading payments company where we have an unrivaled network and global footprint. We provide a huge range of technology-based solutions and payment products to over 400,000 customers or merchants who tend to be either retailers selling a product online or in physical store. We've got customers on a global stage from Airbnb, Google, Netflix, to your local florist or hairdresser. We've got a 42% market share here in the UK. And we're working with some of the largest British brands, such as British Airways, Tesco, Next, Asda, to name a few. And we tend to manage the complexity of payments for our customers to allow them to accept the widest range of payment types. And this is a market where scale really matters. We processed over 13 billion transactions last year, and we operate in 146 different countries across 126 currencies. We continue to grow and invest quite remarkably in our business, and we've seen double-digit growth over the last 4 or 5 years. So where do we come from? The transformation has been quite extraordinary, and it's been a continual journey for us. We've gone from being bought by a bank to being absorbed in a bank to being lost in a bank. And we've grown out of a bank through PE ownership in 2010 into becoming a standalone business that now ranks in the FTSE 100. And we're probably one of the largest fintech companies of last year in terms of the IPO. Under RBS, there's no doubt that the business was underinvested in and was at a very low priority, just given the other things that were going on in 2000, 2008 in the RBS environment. However, what the business did have was a strong heritage. It had a strong heritage in terms of scale. It was the UK leader in payments and a first mover advantage in terms of global e-commerce. But there was an awful lot to be fixed and a lot to be built. Over the last 5 years, we've made a massive set of investments, over £1 billion to date, mainly in technology, but also in M&A, to get us to where we are today. The journey has allowed us now to be a UK business that's playing on a global stage. In 2015, this culminated from all the hard work on the next stage of our journey, and we listed on the London Stock Exchange as the largest UK IPO that year. This was a huge step and an important step for Worldpay, but also a strong vote of confidence in the UK's competitive position, adding jobs and opportunities for investment and helping Britain to prosper. So what is it that's driving the fintech agenda today and creating these opportunities for growth? Many of the legacy players are not able to innovate due to their huge scale and legacy infrastructures. This is creating opportunities for us, for the more nimble players, including agile and innovative startups, like many of you here in the audience. Regulation is also helping and allowing a world of collaboration and allowing big and small businesses to work together. These are a range of factors that are helping to drive this agenda and moving it further. However, if you look more broadly, then you can see that disruption is already taking hold elsewhere. When you start to think about it, the world's largest taxi company owns no taxis. The largest accommodation provider owns no property. Largest phone companies own telcos. And the world's most valuable retailer has no inventory. And the most popular media owner creates no content. And the largest software vendor don't write the apps. So these are profound changes that are already happening in the industry, and in many ways, these are things that we should think about as we think about our agenda collectively. Technology is liberating global commerce. So what does that mean for fintech? We're seeing technology moving into new and exciting ways. Data usage is increasing while costs are decreasing, and more data is being stored. We're also seeing the rise of biometrics to counter the increasing risk, and part of that is the challenge that we at Worldpay have to ensure that we allow our customers access to these new technologies. Payments is much more strategic than it ever was before. If you think about where payments has come from, in the 50s and 60s, it was dominated by cards and pieces of plastic. Then it moved along in terms of mobile payments, and now it's alternative and local payment methods. And alongside all of that, cash and checks are starting to take a reduction in terms of market share. We increasingly want new ways to pay, and we want a seamless shopping experience across online, across mobile, in-store, and on our mobiles. So what does that mean for payments? Payments has gone from being relatively boring to the boardroom. It is now something that is strategic. It's a strategic enabler for merchants, allowing them to increase sales and drive long-term growth. And this rate of change is only getting faster, and customer expectations are getting higher and higher. With this increasing appetite for digital payments tech and the general growth for the sector, it's not surprising that we're seeing significant new investment into the industry, more than ever before, in fact. According to Citibank, over $19 billion was invested in fintech in 2015. Compare that to $1.8 billion in 2010. So what does that mean for startups, and how can we continue to thrive as a fintech innovation hub here in the UK? In my mind, what this does is we're seeing a new wave of startups and innovating products entering the market. Many of you are here in this audience. And what do you get from investors? What are you looking for from investors? They're looking for significant scale. Scale matters in this ecosystem. They're looking for broad distribution, where you're going to get new customers from. And they're looking for technology to basically find new ways to solve old problems. And why is that? Because investors like to see steady, predictable revenues. If you've got long-term contracts available, that helps and adds to your value. If you've got high returns on CapEx or a low normalized CapEx, that helps. And importantly, there's strong cash flow generation. All of these things are adding to the complexity, but importantly, helping you solve the complexity as well. If I think about the way regulation is impacting our overall ecosystem, I think you should think about it as a positive, not as a negative. Many of us tend to be reflective of regulation and think it's a bad thing. In fact, it's a good thing, because what it's allowing is to create some standards, some protocols that are vital in the market that we all operate in. So the challenge, I think, for Britain is not only to be innovative, but also to capitalize on our unique position as a provider of capital to fund growth in the exciting sector of fintech. We need to bring together innovative startups and providers of finance and create a mutual understanding of both economies. All of that can help your business and can help Britain prosper. I wish you luck to drive even greater success for fintech in the UK. Thank you for listening.